17 fun riddles for geniuses only. Before we begin, tell us where you're watching from. Let's do this. First challenge. Who is the assassin? Two businessmen are sitting in a luxury hotel lobby waiting for a meeting. 1. The first man sits on the left sofa reading a financial newspaper, briefcase beside him, expensive watch on his wrist. 2. The second man sits on the right sofa typing on his laptop, coffee cup on the table, jacket folded neatly beside him. Both look like successful, completely ordinary businessmen. The hotel receptionist has just received a tip that a highly trained assassin is hiding in this lobby right now. Look at every single detail. The clue is extremely small. Can you figure out which man is the assassin? Time's running out. The correct answer is 1. Did you notice the newspaper and the watch? Number 1 is holding a financial newspaper, but the newspaper date reads tomorrow's date. Nobody carries tomorrow's newspaper unless they printed it themselves as a prop to look natural. And that expensive watch on his wrist, look at the face. The watch hands are not moving. It is not a real watch. It is a hollow tracking device disguised as a luxury timepiece. He planned every single detail of this disguise except those two things. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 2. Who is the impersonator? Two doctors are consulting with a patient in a hospital room. 1. The first doctor stands on the left holding a patient clipboard. 2. The second doctor stands on the right holding a prescription notepad. Both are wearing white coats, stethoscopes, and ID badges. Both are speaking confidently. Both look absolutely convincing. But hospital security has just been alerted. One of these two doctors is not a real doctor at all, and they have been working on this ward for 3 weeks without anyone noticing. The clue is not in their clothes. It is not in their badges. Look much more carefully than that. Can you spot the impersonator? Time's running out. The correct answer is 2. Did you notice the stethoscope and the prescription pad? A real doctor wears a stethoscope with the earpieces facing forward, ready to be placed in the ears quickly. Number 2's stethoscope earpieces are facing backward. A detail only a trained medical professional would ever notice. And that prescription notepad, look at the pen grip. Number 2 is holding the pen in their left hand, but writing from right to left, the completely wrong direction for any standard prescription form. 3 weeks on this ward, and 2 tiny details gave everything away. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 3, which passenger is carrying something illegal? 3 passengers are going through airport security together. 1. The first passenger is a young woman with a large backpack and a water bottle. 2. The second passenger is a middle-aged man in a business suit carrying only a thin laptop bag. 3. The third passenger is an elderly woman pushing a small trolley suitcase with a duty-free shopping bag. All 3 have placed their items on the security conveyor belt. All 3 look relaxed and completely unbothered, but the security scanner has flagged something and it is not what you would expect. Can you figure out which passenger is carrying something illegal? Time's running out. The correct answer is 2. Did you notice the laptop bag and his shoes? Number 2's laptop bag appears completely thin and empty from the outside. But look at the bottom edge of the bag. There is a very faint double-layer seam running along the base, a hidden compartment sewn into the lining, completely invisible to the naked eye. And his shoes. Both shoes have unusually thick soles, far thicker than any normal business shoe would ever need. Hollow underneath. He looked the least suspicious of all 3. That was entirely the point. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 4, who is lying about being a scientist? 3 scientists are presenting their research at an international conference. 1. The first scientist stands at the left podium presenting data on a large screen behind them. 2. The second scientist stands at the center podium gesturing confidently toward their research charts. 3. The third scientist stands at the right podium holding a printed research paper. All three look brilliant. All three speak with complete confidence. All three have fooled everyone in this room. But one of them has never done a single day of real scientific research in their life. Can you figure out who is lying? Time's running out. The correct answer is 3. Did you notice the research paper and the screen behind them? Look very carefully at number 3's printed research paper. The title of their paper reads one thing, but the data chart projected on the screen directly behind them shows a completely different study title. They printed one paper, but accidentally presented the wrong slide. And look at the graph on that screen. The x-axis and y-axis labels are switched, a fundamental scientific error that no real researcher would ever make with their own data. They memorized the words, but they never understood the work. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 5, Who is the Undercover Spy? 4 tourists are visiting a famous historical monument together. 1. The first tourist is taking photos with a large camera. 2. The second tourist is studying a paper map of the city. 3. The third tourist is buying a souvenir from a nearby stall. 4. The fourth tourist is sitting on a bench, writing in a travel journal. All 4 look like ordinary tourists having a perfectly normal sightseeing day. But intelligence services have confirmed that a highly trained undercover spy is among these 4 tourists right now, gathering classified information. Can you figure out which tourist is the spy? Time's running out. The correct answer is 2. Did you notice the map and the direction they are facing? Number 2 is holding a paper map, but the map is upside down. A genuine tourist who needed directions would immediately notice their map was upside down and turn it around. Number 2 has not turned it around because they are not actually reading it. The map is a prop. Their eyes are not looking at the map. At all, they are watching the entrance to a restricted government building directly across the street. And look at the corner of that map. A tiny earpiece wire runs up from inside their collar, just barely visible above the jacket neckline. The best disguise is always the most ordinary one. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 6. Which painting is a forgery? 3 famous paintings are hanging on the wall of a prestigious art gallery. 1. The first painting hangs on the left a landscape with rolling hills and a sunset sky. 2. The second painting hangs in the center a portrait of a nobleman from the 17th century. 3. The third painting hangs on the right a still life of fruit and flowers in a ceramic vase. The gallery director has just discovered that one of these 3 paintings is a masterfully crafted forgery, and the real painting was stolen and replaced weeks ago. The forger was brilliant, almost perfect, but not completely perfect. Can you find the forgery? Time's running out. The correct answer is 2. Did you notice the portrait and the shadow? Look very carefully at the nobleman's portrait. The light source in the painting is coming from the upper left. The shadows on the nobleman's face fall correctly to the right. But look at the objects on the small table beside the nobleman inside the painting. The shadows on those objects fall to the left, the completely opposite direction to the light source. A master painter who created an original work would never make inconsistent shadow errors inside the same painting. Only a forger copying 2 different reference images separately and combining them would make that mistake. Almost perfect. But almost is never good enough. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 7, Who poisoned the meal? 4 chefs are working in a high-end restaurant kitchen, preparing a very important dinner service tonight. 1. The first chef is at the stove, stirring a large pot of sauce. 2. The second chef is at the prep station chopping vegetables. 3. The third chef is at the plating station arranging the final dishes. 4. The fourth chef is at the dessert station decorating a cake. One of the 4 diners from tonight's service has just been rushed to hospital. Something in the meal was poisoned. All 4 chefs are denying any involvement. All 4 look completely shocked and horrified. But one of them is not shocked at all. One of them knew exactly what was going to happen tonight. Can you figure out which chef is responsible? Time's running out. The correct answer is 3. Did you notice the gloves and the plating station? All 4 chefs are wearing standard white kitchen gloves except number 3 at the plating station. Number 3 is wearing a slightly different glove, one that is thicker and made of a different material entirely. And look very carefully at the corner of the plating station. There is a tiny empty glass vial almost completely hidden behind the garnish tray that was not there at the beginning of the service. Number 3 was the last person to touch every single dish before it left that kitchen. The poison was added at the very last moment at the plating station, where it was completely invisible to everyone else in that kitchen. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 8, Who is the Ghost? A family of 4 is sitting together for their annual portrait photograph in their living room. 1. The grandfather sits in the armchair on the far left. 2. The mother sits on the sofa in the center left. 3. The father sits on the sofa in the center right. 4. The teenage daughter stands behind the sofa on the right. The photographer has just developed the portrait photograph, and something in this image has made them go completely pale. Look at every single person in this portrait very carefully. Can you figure out who is the ghost? Time's running out. The correct answer is 1. Did you notice the grandfather in the room behind him? Look at the wallpaper pattern directly behind each family member. Behind the mother, father, and daughter, the wallpaper pattern is slightly obscured by their bodies sitting in front of it. Completely normal. But behind the grandfather, the wallpaper pattern is completely visible and uninterrupted directly through his body, as though he is not physically there at all. And look at the armchair cushion beneath him. It shows absolutely no compression, no weight, no impression at all. The family has been taking this annual portrait for 20 years. Nobody noticed until today that grandfather passed away 3 years ago. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 9, Who is the identity thief? 3 people are sitting in a bank waiting room ready to be called for their appointments. 1. The first person sits on the left reading a magazine, handbag on their lap. 2. The second person sits in the middle checking their phone, briefcase beside their chair. 3. The third person sits on the right filling in a form on a clipboard, pen in hand. The bank manager has just received an urgent alert. Someone in this waiting room is using a stolen identity to access another person's account, and they have done this successfully at 4 different banks already this week. The clue is not obvious. You need to look at something most people would never think to check. Can you figure out who the identity thief is? Time's running out. The correct answer is 3. Did you notice the form and the pen hand? Number 3 is filling in a bank form, but look at the hand holding the pen. They are writing with their right hand. Completely normal so far, but look at the hand holding the clipboard steady. The fingers on that left hand have ink stains consistent with someone who writes left-handed regularly. A naturally right-handed person would never have those specific ink patterns on their left hand. Number 3 is naturally left-handed, but is deliberately writing with their right hand to avoid matching the signature on the stolen identity documents, which were signed left-handed by the real account owner. And the form itself, look at the name being written. The letters are slightly inconsistent in pressure, the handwriting of someone copying rather than writing naturally. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 10, Which antique is fake? 3 antiques are displayed on a table at an exclusive auction house. 1. The first antique is an ancient Roman coin sitting on a velvet display cushion. 2. The second antique is a medieval sword mounted on a wooden stand. 3. The third antique is a Victorian pocket watch in an open leather display case. All 3 items have passed initial authentication. All 3 have documentation. All 3 look completely genuine. But an expert has just quietly informed the auction director that one of these 3 items is a brilliantly crafted modern fake worth almost nothing. Can you figure out which antique is fake? Time's running out. The correct answer is 3. Did you notice the pocket watch and the crown? A genuine Victorian pocket watch from the 1800s would have a winding crown, the small knob at the top, that is slightly worn and oxidized from 150 years of regular use. The winding crown on this pocket watch is perfectly smooth, factory fresh, with no oxidization at all. In fact, the entire crown looks like it was manufactured last year. And look at the watch face through the display glass. The numerals use a modern font style that did not exist in Victorian typography, a detail almost impossible to spot unless you know exactly what you are looking for. Beautiful, convincing, and completely worthless. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 11. Who is the witness in disguise? 4 people are sitting in a courthouse waiting area before a major criminal trial begins today. 1. The first person is a lawyer in a sharp navy suit carrying a leather document case. 2. The second person is a journalist with a press badge, notepad, and recorder. 3. The third person is a court official in uniform carrying a sealed document envelope. 4. The fourth person is a member of the public sitting quietly reading a paperback book. One of these 4 people is actually the key witness in today's trial, traveling in disguise for their own protection, and only the judge knows their true identity. Can you figure out who the witness in disguise is? Time's running out. The correct answer is 4. Did you notice the book and the shoes? Number 4 is sitting reading a paperback book, apparently completely calm and unbothered by everything happening around them. But look at the book. The spine shows the title on the cover. And if you look at the page number visible at the corner of the open page, they have been on the exact same page for over 20 minutes without turning it. They are not reading at all. They are watching. And the shoes. Number 4 is dressed in completely casual everyday clothing, but is wearing high-end, reinforced tactical footwear underneath. The kind issued specifically for Witness Protection Program participants who may need to move very quickly. They blended in perfectly. Almost. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 12. Which house is being used ASA Hideout? 3 houses stand side by side on a quiet suburban street. 1. The first house on the left has lights on, a car in the driveway, and a garden with freshly cut grass. 2. The second house in the middle has lights on, curtains drawn, and a recycling bin left at the gate. 3. The third house on the right appears dark with no car, overgrown garden, and mail piling up in the letterbox. Police have received a tip that one of these 3 houses is secretly being used as a criminal hideout, and it is not the one that looks abandoned. Can you figure out which house is the hideout? Time's running out. The correct answer is 2. Did you notice the recycling bin and the curtains? Number 2 looks perfectly normal at first glance. Lights on. Someone home. Nothing suspicious. But that recycling bin at the gate today is not recycling collection day. And the bin is completely empty. Someone placed an empty bin at the gate to make the house look routinely occupied. And those drawn curtains, look at the tiny gap at the bottom left corner. A faint green light is visible inside the kind produced by multiple screens and electronic monitoring equipment, running continuously. The house that looks most lived in is the one with the most to hide. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 13, who is not actually asleep? 4 passengers are on a long overnight train journey. All 4 appear to be fast asleep in their seats. 1. The first passenger sleeps against the window, mouth slightly open, head tilted. 2. The second passenger sleeps upright, with arms crossed, and chin dropped to chest. 3. The third passenger sleeps with a travel pillow around their neck and an eye mask on. 4. The fourth passenger sleeps with a coat draped over them like a blanket. A valuable briefcase belonging to another passenger has just gone missing from the overhead luggage rack, while everyone was supposedly asleep. One of these 4 passengers is not asleep at all. Can you figure out who it is? Time's running out. The correct answer is 4. Did you notice the coat and the feet? Number 4 has a coat draped over them covering everything from the chin downward. Looks completely natural for a cold overnight train. But look at the feet beneath that coat. The shoes are still fully laced and tied in a double knot. Nobody who genuinely settled in for a long overnight sleep keeps their shoes on and tightly laced. Every genuine sleeper would have at minimum loosened them for comfort. And the coat itself, it is draped too perfectly, too evenly, too deliberately arranged to cover both hands, completely hiding whatever those hands might be doing underneath. Number 4 was never asleep, not even for a single second. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 14. Who is the real professor? 3 people are standing at the front of a university lecture hall, claiming to be the professor scheduled for today's class. 1. The first person stands confidently at the whiteboard, holding a marker, equations already written behind them. 2. The second person stands at the lectern with a thick textbook open and lecture notes spread out. 3. The third person stands beside the projector screen with a laser pointer and a presentation loaded. The real professor sent a photo ID ahead of time, but the university administrator has lost the email. One clue in this room will tell you exactly who the real professor is if you look carefully enough. Can you figure out who it is? Time's running out. The correct answer is 1. Did you notice the whiteboard and the equations? Number 1 has already written equations on the whiteboard before the class even began from memory, without any notes or textbook in hand. But more importantly, look at the bottom right corner of that whiteboard. There is a small personal notation written in a unique shorthand that only someone who has taught this exact course repeatedly would ever use. It is not from a textbook. It cannot be copied. It came entirely from years of teaching this specific material. Number 2 has a textbook, but a real professor would know this material without needing one. Number 3 has a presentation, but loaded from a USB drive, not a university system account. Only number 1 walked in and immediately started working, because this room has been theirs for years. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 15. Who is the real mother? A little girl is sitting on a park bench having just fallen and scraped her knee. She is crying. 3 women rush over claiming to be her mother. 1. The first woman kneels down immediately and starts examining the girl's knee with focused concern. 2. The second woman rushes over, calling the girl's name loudly and opening her arms for a hug. 3. The third woman arrives and immediately reaches into her bag, pulling out a plaster and antiseptic wipe. All 3 reactions look convincing. All 3 women look genuinely distressed. But only one of them is truly her mother, and the clue is in a detail most people would completely overlook. Can you figure out who the real mother is? Time's running out. The correct answer is 3. Did you notice the bag and the reaction? Number 1 examined the knee, a caring reaction, but a stranger or nurse might do the same. Number 2 called the girl's name, but anyone nearby could have heard the name called out moments before. But number 3, without a single second of hesitation, reached directly into her bag and pulled out a plaster and antiseptic wipe. She did not search through her bag. She did not look. Her hand went straight to exactly the right spot immediately. Because a mother who has been caring for this particular child every single day knows exactly where everything in her bag is, because she has reached for that exact same plaster for this exact same child many times before. Preparation is the truest form of love. Ready for the next challenge. Challenge 16, Who is the Undercover Detective? 4 people are sitting around a table at an underground illegal poker game in a private backroom. 1. The first player is a large man with tattoos, gold rings, smoking a cigar and stacking chips aggressively. 2. The second player is a quiet young woman in a hoodie, barely speaking, watching every hand carefully. 3. The third player is a loud, middle-aged man in an expensive shirt, laughing and making jokes between hands. 4. The fourth player is a calm older gentleman in a plain suit, drinking water, folding most hands quietly. Police have confirmed that one of these 4 players is an undercover detective gathering evidence on this operation right now. The detective has been trained to blend in perfectly. Almost perfectly. Can you figure out which player is the undercover detective? Time's running out. The correct answer is 4. Did you notice the water and the folding pattern? Number 4 is drinking water at an illegal underground poker game. Every single other player is drinking alcohol. Nobody voluntarily attends an underground gambling operation and orders water unless they need to remain completely sharp and legally sober for whatever comes next. And the folding pattern. Number 4 has folded almost every single hand tonight, but look at the cards folded each time. Number 4 has been folding strong hands, hands that should be played, hands that would win. A real gambler never folds winning hands repeatedly, but an undercover detective is not here to win money. They are here to stay at that table long enough to record everything happening in this room. And look very carefully at the plain suit jacket lapel, a tiny pinhole almost completely invisible, where a recording device no larger than a shirt button is hidden inside, ready for the next challenge. Challenge 17, the final challenge, Who Stole the Diamond? A priceless diamond has just vanished from a locked display case at a high-security museum. The alarm was never triggered. The case shows no signs of forced entry. The security footage shows 4 museum staff members in the Diamond Gallery in the 30 minutes before the theft was discovered. 1. The first staff member is a senior curator in a formal blazer carrying a museum catalog. 2. The second staff member is a security guard on patrol holding a radio and a torch. 3. The third staff member is a cleaning operative with a trolley, mop, and cleaning supplies. 4. The fourth staff member is a junior exhibitions assistant carrying a tablet and measurement tools. All 4 have passed full security clearance. All 4 have worked at this museum for years. All 4 are completely denying any knowledge of the theft. But one of them planned this meticulously, and they left behind one single clue they cannot explain away. This is the hardest challenge Quiz Popups has ever created. Can you figure out who stole the diamond? Time's running out. The correct answer is 3. Did you notice the cleaning trolley and the temperature? The display case for this diamond is climate-controlled, maintained at a precise 18 degrees Celsius at all times to preserve the surrounding exhibit materials. Triggering the alarm requires physically breaking the seal or cutting the power. But there is a third way to open it that bypasses both systems' entirely extreme localized cold applied to the locking mechanism, causing the metal components to contract just enough to release the magnetic seal for approximately 4 seconds. Look very carefully at the cleaning trolley. Among the standard cleaning supplies there is a small aerosol canister that does not match any standard museum cleaning product. It is a compressed freezing spray, the kind used in electronics repair, capable of dropping a metal surface to minus 40 degrees in under 2 seconds. And number 3's right glove, look at the fingertips. There is a faint crystalline frost residue still visible on the outer surface of the glove, the kind left behind after handling an extreme cold aerosol at very close range. The case was never broken. The alarm was never triggered. The lock simply let go for 4 seconds, and 4 seconds was all they needed. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more brain-bending riddles. Think you can beat the next challenge? See you in the next video. The correct answer is 3. Did you notice the cleaning trolley and the temperature? The display case for this diamond is climate controlled, maintained at a precise 18 degrees Celsius at all times to preserve the surrounding exhibit materials. Triggering the alarm requires physically breaking the seal or cutting the power. But there is a third way to open it that bypasses both systems' entirely extreme localized cold applied to the locking mechanism, causing the metal components to contract just enough to release the magnetic seal for approximately 4 seconds. Look very carefully at the cleaning trolley. Among the standard cleaning supplies there is a small aerosol canister that does not match any standard museum cleaning product. It is a compressed freezing spray, the kind used in electronics repair, capable of dropping a metal surface to minus 40 degrees in under 2 seconds. And number 3's right glove, look at the fingertips. There is a faint crystalline frost residue still visible on the outer surface of the glove, the kind left behind after handling an extreme cold aerosol at very close range. The case was never broken. The alarm was never triggered. The lock simply let go for 4 seconds, and 4 seconds was all they needed.